Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello, fine people. It is great to have you here joining us on the Badass Counseling Show, wherever you might be tuning in from. We're delighted that you are here. This show is going out as a tribute to all of our fine friends in Europe and down under, and even way down under. This time of year, Antarctica is busy, and I actually have a niece who does some work down in Antarctica, so I have a fondness for the place, even though I have never been. And I don't know if I aspire to go. It seems like a vast frozen place, but there are folks that love it. I had a brother that went there recently, and they say it's just incredible. So they say. Anyway, this is the Badass Counseling Show, and to those in Europe, down under Australia, and so forth, and way down in Antarctica, we welcome you to our show. We know you. We have lots of listeners there, and thanks for tuning in. I am joined by my producers. By extension, we have Sophia the artist. We also have KC in the booth, but she's not in the booth. She is actually in absentia, but she is present via Zoom, and we welcome KC to the show. She may be tuning in. And I have Rob the Rocket in studio. Hello, Rob. What say ye?
Good day, Sven. My brother made it a point to go visit Antarctica simply because he said it was out of his comfort zone. And I think that's great. I think I'd like to go for maybe the same reason.
You know, he probably could have saved himself some dough and maybe gone skydiving. And
yeah, well, I don't think that would have worked for him.
Wow.
Not a bad idea.
God bless him. And what did he learn from his travels?
Oh, it was a spectacular trip. It was the only continent that he hadn't been to, and so he was able to do that before he passed away.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Wow, how about that? I don't get it. And maybe I will at some point. I just don't get it.
Put that idea on ice for now.
Well played, Rob. Well played. Rob, we have a very interesting guest today. We have an interesting guest with an interesting problem that I think for many people might be hard to understand. Tell us about Rollo, if you will.
Okay, Sven, Rollo wrote in and in the subject line said, "I am afraid to be happy." And the message was, Sven's books and podcast have helped me so much through my divorce and in starting my life over after losing everything, but I am afraid to feel joy. I left a marriage of 13 years last year following her third time cheating on me and was forced to leave my home with my children because she moved her affair partner in and wanted me to pay the bills. I moved out and have started my life over and have met a very amazing woman, and I am happy, but I'm terrified to admit that. Every time in my life I've been happy, I've been hurt. My dad left to start a new family when I was 4, and then my mom left me with my grandparents when I was 12 so she could start a new life. I am terrified that if I admit I'm happy, that I will lose this new person in my life. I feel cursed that I am never meant to be happy again.
Rollo, welcome to the show.
Morning, Sven.
I gotta say, and I think you can probably see it as well, that for a lot of people, the notion of being afraid to be happy it's just like, that's madness. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I see that a lot, actually. I don't share it a lot with people because I know it sounds kind of out there.
Yeah, it does. But boy, when you lay it out so simply in your paragraph that you sent in to us, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense, because every time you had been happy or every time you had something that you loved, it left you or it hurt you or it took advantage of you or somehow it became equated with pain at some point. Would that be accurate or inaccurate?
Yeah. It usually, unfortunately, leads to that.
Wow.
Is once I feel like that moment of peace and calm and quaintness and start to put down all my weapons in life, it's immediately, normally out of left field, I have to pick up and start fighting again. And I don't want to do that anymore.
Because when I put down my weapons, when I let my guard down and start to trust and open up, then they start to what?
Well, usually it's people leave or they take advantage.
Right. Okay. And I want to go back into your paragraph and I want to look at it because this is going to sound strange to a lot of women. And it's actually going to sound strange to some guys, but oddly, a lot of guys are going to understand this. But for a lot of women, this isn't going to make sense. And I want to describe what you're describing and in really sharp detail because I have been that. Okay, so I totally fucking get what you're talking about. When you're talking about this marriage, okay, you say, I finally left a marriage of 13 years last year following her third time cheating. She cheated, I ate it. She cheated again, I ate it. Third time, fuck you. But it wasn't even the third time cheating. I was forced to leave with my children because she moved her affair partner in. It wasn't just that she cheated 3 times. I could take that, is basically what you said. It's you want to wait. And it wasn't even that she wanted to move her affair partner in. She wanted me to pay the bills for them. So it's like you were eating so much shit that fundamentally, now you tell me to go fuck myself. You tell me if I'm wrong. I do not mind being wrong. I have no ego here in this. I don't mind being wrong, all right? I just want to understand, okay? That fundamentally, I thought so fucking little of myself that you can punch me in the face with the cheating. You can punch me in the face with the cheating again. You can kick me in the balls and punch me in the face with cheating again, moving your person in and insisting that I pay your bills. That's how little I think of myself.
You're absolutely right on that. I've always struggled with loving myself and liking myself and not being embarrassed of who I am.
And what is the single most embarrassing part of who you are? What is the single most embarrassing part of who you are?
That I am a very soft human with a soft heart, and I generally care about everybody. And as a dude, you're not supposed to do that. And I don't know, it's embarrassing for me to be that person, to have that, I guess.
And let me ask you, did your voice crack there?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me the feeling word that you're feeling right now. When you say, I'm a very soft human, I have a very soft heart, I genuinely care about people, and I'm embarrassed to admit that. How does that make you feel inside to say that out loud?
Sorrowful.
And that makes you feel sorrowful for what? Why?
That I'm not stronger and tougher and capable of pushing through like other people, like my dad has done his whole life. My grandfather.
Like dad and grandpa. Okay. And it makes you sorrowful because presumably being soft and genuinely caring about people is, well, bad, and being tough and strong and pushing through people is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, you mentioned at the top of your paragraph, Sven's books and podcasts have helped me very much through my divorce and in starting my life over and after losing everything. So you follow my shit. What is the fundamental message, if you were to, on this particular subject of soft and versus like you versus stronger and pushing through people like dad and grandpa, what's the fundamental message on that point that you have gotten from the Badass Counseling Show, from the Badass Counseling Method, from my books, from my pie hole?
That way of thinking is kind of bullshit.
Right. Right. And that fundamentally, a true badass is not somebody who's pushing through people all the time, mowing people down, who's got the tough guy persona. That's actually an indicator of weakness, because that's someone who doesn't have the balls to show their soft side, because the soft side is a natural part of human feelings and emotions. It's just normal. I'm sorry, if you got a little fucking kitten on you, little fucking kittens or little fucking puppies, and you don't get like a fucking warm glow in your heart, I mean, you're so cut off from your real self. Come on, fucking puppies. Like those little fucking videos of the little boy and the pup. There's like 20 puppies. If that doesn't just melt your fucking heart, fuck you. You're a fucking Martian. Fuck you. You're not even fucking human, right? Okay. Yeah. So I understand, though, that while you see the logic of what I'm saying, and you feel the passion of what I'm saying, and you get what I'm saying, what you also get, as I talk about in the book, is that message from dad, from grandpa, from society, gets pressed in so deep. No, man, tough. Girl, soft. You soft, you girl. Girl, bad. Man, good. You bad. You embarrassing. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so you're a fucking embarrassment to the family line. What kind of man are you? You fucking pussy, right?
Yeah.
Right, which is just bullshit. It's just dumb. Right. So you're, from where I sit at least, dad and grandpa are fucking cowards. But when it's your own father, it's like, oh. But also, there's more to it than that. You got broken. And I don't mean permanently broken, that it broke your heart. That's a better way of saying it. Your father left you. He left you. I mean, the notion that person gets to define what a man is or what a decent human being is, leaving his own child, well, it's hard to see as a credible source at that point. And the truth is, now, if he had come back and atoned for that and owned his mistake and acknowledged it and humbled himself before his son, well, then we've got a different situation. Because the truth is, every single parent does fucking shitty stuff, makes horrible mistakes. But I'm willing to bet dad hasn't done that, has he?
He's in my life, but he's never apologized for the past. He doesn't see it as anything he did wrong.
Precisely. And by doing that, presumably, what that enables him to do is have you in his life, thereby confirming his worth as a father, because, hey, my son still wants to have time with me and I still get to take advantage of that, reap whatever benefits they might be, but I didn't do anything wrong. He gets to continue to allow the boy to assume that the boy is the problem. Right. Fucking cowardice again. I mean, how old is your father, roughly?
Late 50s.
Late 50s. Okay, I'm in my late 50s. So your father's probably still working. Right.
Yeah.
And if he's working, I'm betting if he fucks up on the job, he has to apologize to the boss. Or if he owns the company, if he fucks up a customer's order, he has to apologize to the fucking customer, right?
Yeah.
So he knows how to apologize. He understands the importance of apologies in maintaining relationships, which are necessary to maintaining sales. So what he's fundamentally saying by not apologizing is, fuck you. Fuck you. I have the power. I don't have to fucking apologize. Right. So by him leaving you, by mom then leaving you later, they fundamentally conveyed the message, you don't matter. And the child being told you don't matter and you're not lovable, as you've heard me talk about before, that child is like every fucking child is just going through life, just trying to get their fucking love cup filled. And so you get one person who even gives you one teeny tiny fucking cap full of love, not even pouring in the whole fucking bottle of love, but one cap full. And it's like, oh, you're going to hold on to that person. You can beat me, you can kick me, you can steal from me, you can abuse my kids, you can cheat on me multiple times, and I'll live under the same roof as your lover, and I'll even pay your bills. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe, no. But you'll eat so much shit. Why? Just don't leave me. Why? Because your presence is a living, breathing counter message to all the messages inside of me that say I'm not lovable. Because otherwise, why would you be here? That's the logic. Okay, so taking it back then, what would you say in kid language? So you said your dad left when you were 4 and mom left with left you with your grandparents at 12. So by, let's just say 12, what was the fundamental message that either was explicitly told to you or that ran through your head about yourself in 12-year-old language?
That I wasn't worth having.
Is that, and maybe it is, okay, is that a 12-year-old's language?
For me at 12, yeah.
Okay, for you at 12, I'm not worth having. All right, excellent. Okay, I've got that one sort of jotted down here. And if there were another one, what might have been a second one?
That I wasn't good enough.
And would that have been a 12-year-old's language? I'm not good enough? Or would it have been something else?
Me at 12 was unfortunately really well read, but
fair enough. I'm not disputing that. And nonetheless, sometimes even with that, we put it in the vernacular because part of being well read includes Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, where the language is the vernacular, where it is just a simple, I suck, I'm no good, I'm a loser, whatever. So I'm not disputing your intellect as well, or that you did use that language. I'm not disputing that. Just wondering if there might have been a more pointed language, and maybe this was your pointed language. I don't know.
That I'm not good.
I'm not good enough. So I'm not worth having, and I'm not good enough. And what would you say for you personally? Maybe it wasn't dad leaving. Maybe it wasn't mom leaving that really drove that point or those 2 points home most. But I'll ask you generally, what was the most pivotal moment to your life that taught you the message, I'm not worth having and I'm not good enough?
The day my mom got remarried and left me at my grandparents'. And that's who had to raise me. That was what it was for me.
And really, you could even leave off the part at the grandparents and just say they got remarried and left me. And you could even leave off the part they got remarried and just say they left me. Dad left me, mom left me. I mean, really, it happened, as you said in your paragraph, twice. Dad left me, then mom left me. Okay. And the message to the child is, you're just not important. You're not worth having. Precisely as you said. Exactly. And so then you have 3 kids. And which of your 3 kids would you say is most not worth having? Is it the youngest, the middle, or the oldest?
None of them. They're the most rock star children in the world.
Well, but come on. I mean, if you weren't worth having, then we were to just sort of play the odds a bit, there had to have been one of them. There has to be one of them that kind of sucks and just is generally unlovable.
They're all awesome.
Okay.
I couldn't imagine not loving them.
Okay. Then maybe it's your neighbor's kid or something. Is it possible for a child to be innately not worth having, innately unlovable? Is it possible?
No. Kids are all special and wonderful in their own way.
I see. So then we've got a little problem then with the theory of 12-year-old Rollo. And the problem is that a 12-year-old is believing something that now at your age, and if you've got 3 kids, I'm going to put you roughly in your 30s, 40s, somewhere in there, okay? that means that 12-year-old Rollo is engaged in, fully ensconced in a belief system that, roughly 40-year-old you says is utterly untrue, incapable of being true.
Right.
Right. And so that belief system then gets embedded deeply into 12-year-old Rollo. And no doubt, would it be reasonable to say, would this be true or untrue, that belief system that really got hammered home when they got remarried and left me to be raised by Grandma and Grandpa, that had perhaps taken roots way back at 4 when Dad left?
Definitely.
Okay.
Honestly.
And maybe your memory doesn't go back this far. Maybe it does. I don't know. Would it be reasonable to assume that if Dad left you at 4, that potentially his actions prior to leaving, even though he was under the roof, might have reflected a somewhat distancing or a pushing away? Because on one hand, it could be argued it would be hard to imagine a father who was very involved in a child's life then out of the blue just completely departing. That would be such an abrupt sort of about face. So might it be argued that departure from you permanently was a somewhat in character action that had been perhaps reflected in his actions prior to the actual departure?
Yes, he was never home, and when he was home, he was usually drunk and kind of violent with me and my mom.
Okay.
So him leaving wasn't that much of a surprise, but it still hurt.
Right. Of course it did. Because what does the little boy want?
His dad to love him.
Exactly. Play with him, throw a ball, watch a movie, whatever it might be. And so you had already been feeling the distance, not to mention the violence from Dad, the diminishment, you don't matter. I don't want to be around you. You're not important. Right. You're already getting those messages. So the message at 12 then, when Mom does that, come on, that's the final fucking nail in the coffin. You had already gotten the message, but in a way, Mom was this living, breathing counter message up to that point. Well, okay, maybe I am still lovable. Maybe there is hope. And then that door closes.
Yeah.
Right. And what would you say was the single biggest impact of that belief system then being absolutely, the cement dried at that point because it had been pressed into the wet cement with Dad and it had been drying, but it was still moist. Mom was perhaps by her mere presence counter messaging it, maybe not, but at least you were hopeful. But then by her leaving, the cement dried. That message, I am not worth having. I'm not good enough. The cement is dried. It's concretized, and it is fucking deep inside of you. That is now your core belief. What was the single greatest impact of that core belief that you likely, even though you might have been aware of it, you had no idea the tentacles, how much that would become a virus in the operating system of your life. What was the single biggest implication of that belief on your life, particularly in those first 10 years after age 12?
That I was never going to be good enough, no matter how hard I worked. And I couldn't understand why anybody would actually love me or want to date me or be around me. And it was really hard to make friends and be close to people. And honestly, to do well in school, because I tried really hard, but it didn't make sense. Like, I shouldn't be good enough to get any of these things.
Mm. And when you first said, I'm never going to be good enough, for what? For whom? For why?
For other people to want to be in my life and to be part of my life.
Right. Because?
I'm not good enough for my parents, so why would I be good enough for anybody else?
And of course, wouldn't it be safe to say, though, that was from that? So let's say now it's 5 years later, halfway. You're 17. And that belief system is in there, and you're like, I'm never good enough. Nobody's going to like me. No girl is going to want me, or no guy is going to want me. However you tilted back then, whatever, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to want me. I'm just not good enough. Gosh, I'm so this. Oh, I'm so not enough that. Okay. But that was confirmation bias. There may have actually been people who actually thought you were lovely, who actually thought you were like the coolest fucker there was. But because of this absolute virus inside you, the lenses that have been dropped down in front of your eyes that were not rosy colored, but were in fact very dark, it didn't matter. You couldn't see them. You were incapable of believing that anybody could like you. So it was just confirmation bias. It's not that you weren't good enough. You were taught to believe you weren't good enough. Accurate or inaccurate?
Very accurate.
All right. Much more to come right after this short break.
You know, I've read so many self-help books, and I always get something good out of them. But when I dove into There's a Hole in My Love Cup, well, it changed me. I cannot recommend this book highly enough. My copy is very dog-eared and highlighted. Thanks, Sven, for writing it. I love There's a Hole in My Love Cup, and believe you will also. Order your copy at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back with Rollo. Okay, Rollo. So this 12-year-old, 17-year-old, and getting older and so forth, has this belief, I'm never good enough. I was hard to date, hard to make friends, and so on and so forth, because the operating system has been corrupted by this file, this rogue file that says, you're a pissant. You're not worth having. Fuck you, boy. I'm gone. You suck. Fuck you. Just get away from me, would you? And you're not good enough to be worth my time. As an aside, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but as an aside, you mentioned that Dad's in your life now. When did Dad come back into your life, or when did you take him back into your life?
Initially, he came back into my life when I was 16 and bought me a car to try to win me over to liking him. And then he came back after I had my daughter after that.
And how old were you when you had your daughter?
22.
Okay.
And he really wanted to be part of her life. And then fast forward 5 years later, he left again, and we didn't talk for 2 years. And then he came back when I was about 30. And we've had a fairly solid relationship since then.
Came back at 30. All right. And let me ask you this. What, above all else, in one sentence or less, do you get out of your father's presence in your life, if anything?
Fear.
You get fear by having him in your life.
Yeah.
Explain, please.
He's like a switch of that. With his mind is like a switch. Some days he is the most compassionate, loving guy to help take care of you. And other days he is a monster.
Why do you have him in your life is what I'm getting at. I mean, if it's your choice, which maybe it's not, but why do you have him in your life? What's the upside for you? What do you get out of it?
He has helped me a lot through the divorce stuff. He gave me a place to stay during that and helped me get a lawyer and stuff to help fight for my kids and whatnot. So
Okay.
he was a means to an end, unfortunately.
Got it. And you said back when you were 16, he gave you a car to make you like him. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. He needed you to like him. So, and did you see it at the time, or have you seen it since then that that's really what he was wanting?
No, I saw it then that it was a bribe to get me to love him, but...
And why would tough guy, as you described him basically, why would he need his son to like him?
Because he was alone at the time.
So he was using you.
Yeah.
Got it. And isn't that interesting? For as fucking hard guy as he pretends to be, he needs you. So fundamentally, you have power over him.
Yeah.
You have the power. Right. Okay. Presently, by having Dad in your life, as things stand as of today, summer of 2025, what's the percent gain versus the percent loss? We're going to do a P&L here on Dad, of having Dad in your life. Of what percent do you gain out of having him in your life, and what percent is he, revenue out the door, revenue measured in terms of energy, time, just fear, loss? I mean, because you open with, he brings fear to my life. So what percent gain does Dad bring to your life? What percent loss does Dad bring to your life?
I'd say 35% gain, 65% loss.
Right. He's a net loss. Right. Okay. Fair. Have you ever in your life hated yourself?
A lot.
Okay. Fair. And do you presently hate yourself?
It really depends on the day.
Okay. If you were to say on average, generally nowadays, in the last year, 2, 3 years, whatever, in the last year, let's just roughly say, hated yourself. What percent have you hated yourself in the last year?
About 50% of the time, which was better than it was before that.
Okay, because you were married. During the marriage, what percent did you hate yourself?
90% of the time.
90% of the time. What in your life has been the highest percentage that you've ever hated yourself?
When I was in that marriage was about 95%, and I tried to commit suicide at that time. So,
And what year in a 13-year marriage did you try to commit suicide?
year 10.
Year 10. Okay. And then you held out for 5 more years, right? Or 3 more years?
3.
3 more years. All right. And what's the early, and just out of curiosity, what was going to be your mechanism of suicide?
I took a handful of Ativan.
Ativan. All right. And wasn't enough?
I took the handful and then realized how much I'd screwed up and called 911 and got to the hospital.
Hey, good on you. Glad you're alive. As a fellow suicide survivor, there can be life afterwards, and that's part of my goal here. Get you there. All right. Earliest you ever recall hating yourself to any percentage?
Age 12 when I tried to commit suicide the first time.
All right. And what percent would you say you hated yourself then?
About 90, 95.
So that ties with the highest in your marriage at 95%.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that happened at age 12 that you hated yourself, 90 to 95%, attempted suicide. What was your mechanism? I'm assuming it wasn't Ativan at age 12. What was the mechanism then?
Hanging, but the rope broke.
Oh, Jesus. Brutal way to go. And the rope broke. Thank God for shitty rope. Or big boys. Thank God for both. Okay, and let me ask you then, did that 90 to 95% just hit you out of the blue when, mom turned her back on you? Or would it be a reasonable assumption to say, would that be the reasonable assumption, or would the reasonable assumption be to say it had sort of been growing for a while?
It had been growing, and mom had left right before then, and I started middle school, and I was a big boy and was getting bullied, and it was a whole bunch of kerfuffles.
I get it. I totally get it. And so if it had been growing for a while, that means you had actually been hating yourself prior to 12 when it's 90 to 95%. So then we can back it up. When did the self-hatred start? When did it actually start to register? Because at 95%, it's off the fucking charts now. Well, it's still on the charts. It's at 95%, but it's like glaring, blasting, alert. Okay. So when did it actually start then?
That's hard to think. There's always been this mild amount of self-loathing for myself.
Back to when? How far back can you go, Daddy-O?
I can remember all the way back to 6 when somebody said, "Hey, you look a lot like your dad." About that time, I just started hating myself because my mom started seeing it and started pushing me away when I started looking like my dad.
Oh, wow. At age 6, because you looked like your dad. So you were, not only did dad not want you, mom was punishing you for being like your dad. So you were ashamed just because of how you looked, which you literally had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
You literally were cursed. Because of how you looked, you were unwanted. Think about that and how that dovetails into what you were saying before. I'm fucking cursed. I'm unwanted simply because of who I am. You got that message loud and clear.
It's how I felt most of my life, that I was cursed.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't you feel that way? That actually makes total fucking sense, especially when you add that little nugget on top of there. So just so I am clear, Not only did a small child get the message by 12 years old, you said you had the messages in you, I'm not worth having, I'm not good enough, but you recall self-loathing as early as age 6.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to put it in a 6-year-old's language, okay, now maybe the language was the same, maybe not. Let's explore the idea that maybe a 6-year-old had different language of, when it registers, at least on the feeling level, that daddy doesn't want me. Daddy left me. And maybe even it's my fault daddy left. And mom, you definitely got the message. Mom doesn't want me because I look like daddy.
Yeah.
And so what is the message looping inside the child about himself at age 6? What's the language of the 6-year-old about himself, about his worth, about who he is, how he looks, whatever it might be?
That he sucks.
I suck.
Yeah.
Right. And you said you were always a big boy, presumably weight related, not necessarily. Yeah. Okay. And was food one of your escapes?
It always has been. I have a problem with it to this day.
Well, yeah, but let's be really, really honest. And I'm not an addiction specialist. A lot of people come to me to help heal their addictions, but I tell them flat out, I'm not an addiction specialist, but I have a very different take on it. Do you really, though, have a problem with food? Because I look at it differently. Unless I'm mistaken. Now, you tell me if I'm wrong. Again, I could be totally fucked in the head. You don't have a problem with food. Because from where I sit, food is literally the only friend you've ever had. Food is the only thing that had the power, even if it was short-lived, to take your problems away. To actually stop your brain from saying, I suck. To actually soothe you and say, you're okay. I like you. It's okay, little boy. You're a good kid. To actually take it away. And if you had, even if you had paired it with bulimia or whatever, and the purging, that process, that time alone with your food and even your purging, that time made that brain shut off and enabled you to escape that world of hell inside of you that says, you suck. I don't want you. You're not good enough. Food is the only goddamn friend you've had. I don't think you have a bad relationship with food. I actually think you've had one fucking consistent friend your entire fucking life. And the truth is, the food isn't the fucking problem. The food's your friend. The problem is the world you've been trying to escape. You fix that. The food it's no longer a need, it's a want. You can still eat whatever you want. There'll still be times when you want to fucking binge on fucking Oreos and fucking Thanksgiving turkey and every goddamn carbohydrate at the Thanksgiving fucking meal, like every one of us else. But I won't need it to make the world go away because I'll have created a world that I actually enjoy. Then the need for it to take my problems away goes away and I can have this wonderful relationship with it. But the notion that you've had a bad relationship with it, from where I sit, I just see it differently. Food's been your one consistent friend your whole life, the one thing you can count on to take your pain away and to make you feel good. It came at a price. I'm not disputing that, but hell, it beats the hell out of suicide.
I've never thought about it that way, but now that you've said it out loud, damn, that's really clear.
Absolutely. Food has kept you alive, and I'm glad it's been there, and I am glad you have binged. I am glad you got fucked. If you're fat, I am glad you got fat. God bless you. Because you're fucking alive. 2 people taught a 6-year-old child, and even it started before 6-year-old. 2 people taught a 6-year-old to hate himself. And food's the problem? Are you out of your fucking mind? And I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to anybody else. Saying, oh, you're the fucking problem. The food's the problem. Oh, you're a pussy. Fuck you. It's a beautiful little boy. Of course he's going to fucking eat. That's a socially acceptable drug, and he fucking needed it. Because heroin wasn't available. Thank you very much. You teach a child to fucking hate himself? I'd be grabbing for something. Who wouldn't? No, man. Thank God for the food.
Yeah.
Right. And so you being afraid to be happy, understood. Totally understood. Anytime you've been happy, it's been taken away and so forth. And so what's at the root of that? What's at the root of that is that you open up and you trust and you love all over the person. But the thing is there's no balance to it. And what that means is that we open up but we still protect. Hey, I need you to apologize for that. Or, sweetheart, that hurt. Or, I don't like it when you interrupt me. That's not okay. And then not backing down. And that means the next time I call it out too. But it's like, if I do that, the person might not want me. That's the fear, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You bet it is. And if you've been taught, Rollo, if you've been taught that you suck, you're not going to fucking stand up over something little like, interrupting me. I can eat it. No big deal. Right. I can take it. No big deal. But it is a big deal. And it hurts. Because that's fucking Ling Shi, man. The Chinese torture, death by 1,000 cuts. Every one of those little interruptions, every one of those not apologies, every one of those, cheatings, those are bigger cuts, obviously. But all of those, it hurts. You're hurting me. And the reason you've been allowing it is because you were taught, you have to, kid, you suck. But this is where we go back to that fundamental notion. When we are children, we are taught. No, that's not true. We're not taught. The child innately believes, mom and dad are good. Mom and dad love me. Therefore, if I'm not getting love, I must be the problem. I'm at fault. I'm no good. It's me. I'm the reason. Something is wrong with me. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what you have said is, with your 3 kids, there ain't a damn thing wrong with any of them. You even extrapolated and you said there ain't a damn thing wrong with any. Kids are innately lovable. It is impossible for a child to be unlovable. Did I hear you correctly on that?
Yeah. Precisely.
That means either you are the one anomaly in the history of humanity and little Rollo was a fuck, an unlovable piece of shit fuck. Either you are going to assert that theory that you were the one unlovable child in the history of humanity, or the child wasn't the problem. Mom and dad were the problem. Which is it, Rollo?
The more we've talked, the more I'm realizing my mom and dad may have been the problem.
Whoa. I'm sorry. I got to call that out. May have been? Really? Okay. What's the room there for may have been? Isn't that fascinating that you felt the need? Because either Rollo was the problem or mom and dad was the problem, or there is some other element that I'm fucking missing here. So I need you to tighten it up so that I understand.
I was diagnosed with autism when I was 4, and that's when my dad...
So that would make you unlovable. So autistic kids could be unlovable.
I was difficult and had emotional anxiety issues, and that's about the time Dad left and started his new family.
Wait a minute. That's the time Dad left and started his new family. Yet, prior to that, Dad was a drunk and violent at home when he was around.
Yeah.
Right. So Dad was a fuck before you were diagnosed with autism. But back to the point. Mom and Dad may have been the problem. And I say, well, so then you're saying it could still have been Rollo or some third element. You didn't offer up a third element like Martians landed in our backyard. No Deus Ex Machina here. Okay. So that means it is either mom and dad or it's Rollo. And you said I was diagnosed with autism. So in other words, stay with the theory here, buddy boy. Autism equals unlovable.
That's not true at all because my
No,
son's...
wait a minute. You fucking said, Daddy-O.
Yeah.
You said that may have been justification. Fundamentally, what you were saying, and I'm going to give you a chance to talk here, but fundamentally, that may have been justification for Dad leaving. That may have been justification for them not leaving me. Fundamentally, it's okay to not love an autistic child. That is okay. That lets a parent off the hook. Your turn.
I mean, obviously not, because my 10-year-old son is autistic, and he is amazing, and I think it's just... I want it to be me. That was the problem. Because if it was me, it's easier.
Why is it easier if I'm this is so beautiful that you just said this. You are unlocking a door that so many people run into, and I want you to finish this thought. It's easier if I'm the problem than if mom and dad are the problem, because why? Run with it.
Because I already don't really like me. And it's easier to blame me, and I want them to be the paragons in my life. And if they're not perfect, then I'm okay. And if I'm okay, then I have made a lot of choices based on a farce of who I am.
And if I've made a lot of choices based on a farce or a mistaken idea of who I am, what does that mean? Why is that bad?
I should have fought for myself a lot more in my life and should have tried to have a happier life instead of taking it on the chin.
Okay, and let me ask you, have you ever been in therapy?
In therapy every other week, and I weirdly am a counselor, so I give people therapy.
Okay, so then let me ask you. So you just said what a farce it's been, and that, gosh, if I admit that mom and dad are the problem, that means I've been making all these fucking mistakes. That's harder to admit. And now I'm even more of a goddamn embarrassment that I didn't fight it harder and just live a different life. Okay. So you've been in therapy. You've gone through training to be a therapist, to counsel people, all this shit, and you still didn't see it, and none of those professionals fucking saw it. That, my friend, is how deeply embedded this shit is. And you're going to beat yourself up for not seeing it, not only not seeing it fully, but not just fucking magically, fucking snap out of it, Edith. I need you to change right now, Edith. Come on, change right now. All in the family. Okay. And you're going to fucking find one more fucking reason to beat yourself up. No, that's how deeply embedded core beliefs are. This is the power of parental imprinting / conditioning. You couldn't see it. Even your fucking therapist couldn't see it, good as they may have been. All right? I'm not disputing that. But the point is, that's how powerful this shit is. Let me ask you this. Might there additionally be the problem if it's easier to blame me because I'm already on the bandwagon of blaming me and I'm a piece of shit anyway, so fine. But to take them off paragon status, to pull them down off the pedestal, what it really means is it's true, they never did love me. I'm not the problem. They never did love me. Whereas at least if I keep them up there, maybe they did love me. Maybe they still do love me. Maybe I haven't been alone the whole time. Whereas admitting it means I've been alone the whole fucking time. Maybe I never have had family. But also, if they always have loved me, if I continue that belief system, then there's a hope that they may love me one day again. Furthermore, that they can undo, they can right the wrong. They can let me out of this jail cell. They can confirm my worth in the future. They stole my worth back then. They denied my worth by those messages of you suck, you're unimportant, you're not wanted. And so if they actually do love me, then there is hope that they will come around someday, that if I just fucking play it right, if I just be nice to dad, even though he has 35% worth in my life, even though the number may actually be lower, and mom, that if I play it right, because they do love me, I know they do, and I'm going to tap my heels together, and I'm going to, there's no place like home, and I'm going to tap my heels together, that maybe then they will come and say, you are my son in whom I am well pleased, and then I will finally have worth. Is it possible that you've got so much riding on the belief that they are not the problem? I am the problem, and you have to maintain this belief system if you ever have any hope of getting out of this belief system.
I mean, yeah, honestly, that's all I've ever wanted, was for them to love me and be proud of me. And I think if I remove them from that, and it comes down to that they just didn't have the capacity, or just didn't.
Oh, gosh. You did it again. You defended them again. You exonerate them. You say they didn't have the capacity, as if they're passive, that there must be just something innately flawed about them, rather than they chose. Because the truth is, your mom has the capacity to love. She chose a lover and ran off with her lover. Your dad chose a lover and ran off with his lover. Your dad has the capacity to be compassionate and loving towards you. And he has the capacity to be a total fuckstick, abusive cunt towards you. Right. So it's not that they don't have the capacity, yet you still are defending them. You are still defending the myth that they are good and that they love you. They taught a 6-year-old to hate himself. And they perpetuated that myth for years and years and years. Your dad still perpetuates that myth by what? By not apologizing. By not owning his shit. Why? Because it keeps him in the catbird seat. It enables you to keep fucking begging. Please just give me a little bit of love. Give me a little bit of love. No, you need to keep them in that position of power if you ever have any hope of them confirming your worth. And yet the very irony of that is the moment that you make the shift from saying, my 3 children are not unlovable, that my children and all children are innately lovable, that it is literally impossible for a child to be unlovable. Once you fully get your fucking melon around that one and admit there was never a fucking thing wrong with me. I was a beautiful, wonderful, sweet, perfect, rambunctious, creative, ornery when I didn't get my nap, steal a little extra cookie if I could. Like every other child, you were a beautiful boy who was taught to hate himself. Once you actually fucking breathe the truth of that into the depths of your soul and have the courage for the first time in your life to just say, I just want the truth. What is the truth? Then the truth means they didn't love you. That's not love, what they did, either of them. And they were not good. The problem was them. The problem was not the boy. Then what you are fundamentally doing is you are unlocking the very jail cell that you have been locked in your entire time. You are doing it. You are confirming your worth. When people say, oh, you got to love yourself, this is what we're talking about. By assigning origins where origins belong, because you are assigning the origin of your self-loathing up until a few minutes ago with you being autistic. They were justified. Dad was justified in walking away because, hey, I was autistic. Really? You're gonna have a whole lot of autistic parents coming out with fucking pitchforks if you want to assert that. No sooner did I assert it, and you're like, no. You know what? I'm not really actually saying that. Yeah, no shit. But you understand how each of those defenses is you defending them at the expense of a 6-year-old boy. You see that, right?
I do, and I shouldn't defend them, but I think it's just been something I've done my whole life, that it's just easier to defend them than to admit they sucked. And it wasn't me that sucked back then. They sucked for not loving me.
Well, and on top of it, to really tighten the brightness of the picture, crystallize the tint and the hue, they didn't just not love you. They taught a boy to hate himself. I'm going to pull away from you because you look like your father. You know what, boy, I don't want anything to do with you because I'm going to go off with my new lover. Oh, so Pop, you couldn't have a girlfriend and raise me? Really? Really? They taught you to hate yourself. That's a giant step beyond they didn't love me. KC, good to have you join us. Your thoughts or questions for Rollo?
I'm amazed at so many people that come on this show that have what I consider to be a superpower, and that is genuine love, goodness, kindness, and I was one of them, and then hate themselves for being that way because they see it as a weakness. And I think the most important thing that I can convey to Rollo, who I so relate to, is that those things that you are right now hating yourself for, you need to flip the switch on those, man. And you need to start rewriting your story to realize that those are the things that make you a superhero.
Yeah.
You are a superhero.
Yep.
You possess the power to be genuine and to cry and to show your feelings and to love people
Yeah.
and take care of those 3 kids that you have
Yeah.
and to fight to take care of those 3 kids that you have. When you start to rewrite your story and look at the things that make you great rather than the things that you perceive make you unworthy. Like I heard you talking about your education. I didn't have an education, but I went out in the world and I was successful by every metrics that the world has. That, just because you don't do well in school doesn't mean you're not smart. Okay? You are smart. You have the kind of smartness that if the rest of the world had it, there would be no wars, there would be no famine, there would be none of this because your smartness is the only smartness that counts.
The compassion, the love, the kindness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And showing those things makes you a man in my mind. I mean, I know Rob and I have been friends with Sven. I've known Sven for 11 years. Rob's been friends with Sven for probably 6 or 7. Sven cries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sven shows his feelings.
Yep.
Men do that because they're so secure in themselves and their manhood or their womanhood that they're not afraid to show who they are.
Right.
And anybody that doesn't get that is somebody you don't want to be around.
And so let me ask both you, Casey and Rob, and it's the soft and the teaching your children discipline, teaching your children chores, being firm with your children, being firm and tough with your spouse when they're running over your boundaries. How do you do both, Rob? How do you do both, Casey? Because it's got to be both. It's not either or.
It's not automatic, though. It can be very difficult. It's difficult to enforce boundaries if you have a lower opinion of yourself.
Because the fear is...
You're not good enough.
That's it.
I mean, yeah, I think what you're bringing up is important. And I was finally able to find those boundaries late in life when I started to love myself, when I started to rewrite my story and say, you know what? These things that are innate in me that I hate, my kindness, my genuineness, all the things that he mentioned, those are the things that I need to love myself for.
Yeah.
And when he starts to rewrite the story and find strength in who he is, because he is wonderful, then he will have the strength to say, no,
Yeah.
you cannot treat me like this. No one treats me like this. I don't treat anybody else like this.
Yeah. And so great input, Rob and Casey. Rollo, let me ask you, and we're reaching towards the end here, but I want to squeeze in one more aspect. If your present playmate, girlfriend, left you, would you blow your brains out? Yes or no?
No, because the kids need me. That's
Okay.
what's kept me going
Fair.
for the last several years, is that they don't have their mom to support them, so they need me.
Okay, fair. So you would choose to live. So what you are fundamentally saying then is I would not kill myself. So life would not end. So then what would you do next?
Just keep moving forward and try to find a way to be happy.
Okay. So then what you're saying is even if this bad thing, and I'm not disputing it, would hurt immensely because you've got something, someone who brings joy to your life. Okay. So even if the worst case scenario happened, I'll be okay. Yes, I would grieve. Yes, it would hurt immensely. Yes, I'd cry my fucking eyes out and it would hurt my heart deeply. Yes, no doubt. But life would go on and I would strive to find new happiness in life. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just so we're clear on that. So life will go on. So in other words, what that means is it's not a fate worse than death if this person leaves. Doesn't mean it won't hurt. Doesn't mean you won't grieve. But what that does is when we sort of think of the worst fear or one of the worst fears in those ways, all of a sudden, the idea of standing up for myself is a little less scary. And it's, you know what? If you need to leave me, I'd rather you not, and it would hurt my heart, but okay, my life will go on. And recognizing that, I don't want you to say that thing to me, or you know what, I do need you to apologize. I mentioned it, and now yeah, you need to apologize for that. In other words, it's not as scary to stand up for myself.
It's not. No, honestly, the way you put it in that.
That's
thought
right.
process.
And you need to keep that, as crazy as it sounds, you need to link those small things, those standing up for selves. You need to link that to, as insane as this sounds, you need to link that to, would I kill myself? Because it's just like, if I'm not going to kill myself, then, or whatever it is that I fear most, if this person were to leave, which is what you fear most, and then, well, fate worse than death, it's all over. No, it's not. Okay. Why? Because the more I can score a few victories and just stand up for myself and say, hey, no, it's not okay. Do you know what you're doing? You are training someone like you train a puppy, like you train a small child how to sleep in their own bed when they are a baby, like you train a small child how to go wee-wee in the potty versus keep using a diaper. It just takes, you just train it. You keep doing it again and again. Because the problem is, before, you were letting someone, and I was you, to some greater or lesser degree in different ways, letting someone hurt me, letting someone take advantage of me, not saying no. So I'm training this person in the small things. Oh, it's okay if you don't apologize. Oh, it's okay. I can take it. It's no big deal. But small things become big things. And then they're cheating on me, and they're cheating on me multiple times, and they're living with me, and now they're asking me to pay their fucking bills, for fuck's sake. But it always starts small. And that's where it's easiest to compromise ourselves. Right. So the assessment you need to be doing in your journaling and in your self-work is, I would encourage you in your journaling to write down the question at the top of your paper and just bullet point. Just start with bullet pointing it. What are the ways that I am compromising myself most in the small things in my relationship with my playmate? What are all the small ways in my relationship with my playmate, in my relationship with my kids, because I may be using my kids to get my own love needs met, in my work, in the small ways especially, because it's so easiest there to say, it's no big deal, it's no big deal. But that's where it's also where I can begin to notch some victories and say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. And it's scary at first. And it's scary, but then we sort of begin to get our pins under us a little bit, and start to get our sea legs a little bit and a little bit more, and a little bit more. But until you can start, life begins at the word no. It really does. And I talk about that in Love Cup about midway through the book, where I start talking about beginning to say the word no, because that's the scary word. That's the word you've been afraid of your whole life, right?
Yeah.
All right. So would you be willing to come back for a quick overtime at the end of the show here?
Sure.
All right. I appreciate that. Rollo, it has been great to have you on the show. We love having men on the show, but one with such a giant heart and such kindness in his spirit. And it's been a treat to have you on the show. Any final thoughts or words, Rob or KC, before we close the show and bring them back for the overtime?
Just believe in yourself and try to love yourself, because from the things that you describe you hate about yourself, those are the things as a human and as a woman I would love in you.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that. And KC, as an older woman, I've seen in clients as well as friends and so forth, that as women age, it's that softness and that kindness that they want more than anything. Is that accurate or inaccurate, KC?
I mean, I think even young women love and appreciate a soft man. I just think that you have to find those right women, and you have to love yourself and start putting those things forward. Because oftentimes, if we don't love those things about ourselves, we're not going to put those forward in a relationship because we're going to be fearful that the person's going to reject us. So we become this person that we really are not.
Right.
And then we attract the wrong person. So just be yourself. And if somebody doesn't love you for that, well, then move on. There's 9 billion people on the planet or whatever. There's no scarcity.
And that willingness to move on then will naturally breed a willingness to stand up for yourself, which is what gives the softness, the yin yang balance of I'm also willing to stand up for myself. It's got to be both. And that is that I have enough self-respect. It's like, but you can't take advantage. I'm not going to let you take advantage of my softness. So it's both. And so I'm both. I have my feminine energy, but I also have my masculine energy. It's both because it's in all of us. It's in all of us. All right. We're going to wrap it up there, and we're going to ask Rollo to come back for a quick overtime. On behalf of my most excellent team, KC in absentia, Rob the Rocket next to me, and Sophia the artist, long gone for today. It's been great to have you here. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.